We're live from Saturday night. Oh, wait, not from Saturday night, from New York City. I'm just kidding. Okay, let's just get this ball rolling here this morning because I've had a very, very busy morning and I've not been able to get to my smoothie. And can you believe that? But I did do my hydrogen protocol. So the hydrogen, I did, I did 1 liter. That's what I do in the mornings. That's part of the protocol. And empty stomach. And now I am looking to do my multi-nutrient. Oh, so happy. I got my power shake back. Yes. So we're going to make a healthy, this is really for, believe it or not, the way that I'm doing something that I don't think anybody else does, actually. I don't think I've seen anybody do it. It probably sounded kind of dumb, but I did do the blood work repeatedly for years now to see if my method was working. And actually it's working. Not only is it working, it's working better than not only I had expected. I'm sure I've told you guys the stories of the doctor who contacted me with the latest blood work, and it's just kind of almost unreal. It's like, wait, how is this happening? But I think I know exactly how it's happening. And yeah, it's just a combination of a few things. And you would think, well, really clean hydrogen water is going to really do something like this, and a powder and whatever. But it's working. So that's all that matters. Okay, so I'm going to put some raw cacao organic powder in here. It's really good for you. Just a fair trade one. Yep, fair trade. When I look at the ingredients, let's see, what does it say? Organic cacao. That's it. See, that's all. That's the kind of stuff, if you notice the stuff that I buy and use, and this is what I would suggest for anybody, it's not medical advice. I'm not making any medical claims. That would be stupid. Because you guys can do whatever you want. You're free. You're free to do whatever you want. And so, as long as you pay for it, right? You're free as long as you pay for your freedom. Ah, boy, so silly. But yes, I like to put some raw cacao, activating some stem cells. What else do we want to put in here? We got a bunch of different things, but I think that's going to be where we start. Now, the very first thing we start with is actually the greens. So the greens, it's always the powder first. And believe me, there's a specific order. I've learned the hard way. I've been making my smoothies for years, basically, guys. And the real reason that we're doing this, I mean, yes, it's my breakfast, and yes, it will fill you up, and that's awesome. The other reason we're doing it is one of the things that almost nobody talks about, and it's going to be a big topic. Just watch. Everything, I've literally called it, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I've literally called it multiple times. Like, I have made so many predictions that ended up being right. And here comes another one. And almost nobody's watching, and okay, that's fine. But for the 2 people who are in here listening, the secret prediction ultimately is fiber. Fiber is what they're going to, and they're already realizing it. The Japanese have done a lot of research on it. It cannot be fiber from some silly product or psyllium husk. It doesn't work. It's got to be actual food. Every single fruit and vegetable. I'm going to say probably nobody cares. Okay, maybe I'll just show you guys how to make this smoothie. I'll just do that. I won't talk you guys' ear off. You can ask any questions if you want. But powder goes in first. Greens go in second. It's the very first thing you really want other than the powder. It's what causes it to really, really mix properly. Otherwise, it just kind of doesn't. And you know what I'm going to throw in here? And I don't even think I should because I don't think I have the room. But I always feel like this is a little bit of a cooking show. Ooh, I'm going to put something special in there today. Okay, something special's coming today, guys. Be ready for it. Oh, I got a lot of things in here today. I guess I might as well grab them. Okay, so I got a few special ingredients we're going to add today. Why? Well, one of them is kind of expensive, which is the reason. Otherwise, I'd be putting it in all the time. And I bet you anything, I bet you that it's cheap. It's just that it's just hard to get in this country, would be my guess. Because I bet you if you were in India, it would probably be extremely cheap. That's just my guess, though. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But in America, it's expensive. So I try to be, I don't want to say frugal, but yeah, a little bit frugal towards, because these smoothies can get really outrageous, and I know I use them every day. So I pick stuff that is more affordable. All right, let's see here. Let's try to use this up today. Let's see, my beet leaves. You know, beet leaves, have you guys done research on beet leaves? These things have some serious health benefits too. And if they look bad, you know, I'm just going to take off the bad parts. So here we go. Let's see here. Let's just see which ones look good, because otherwise, you know what's going to happen? They're going to go bad. And, you know, I don't like to be wasteful. I'm a little bit, that's actually, I mean, I never learned it from anybody. I've always been this way actually since I was little. I was born this way for some reason. But all I can tell you is that the more I've learned about, that one just doesn't look good. The more I've learned about monks and very old ancient practices, and I don't agree with everything that they believe in or whatever, which is fine. I have no problem with anybody agreeing to disagree. Sometimes that happens. You can't have everybody agreeing on everything, then we'd all be, I don't know, the same. There's some things though that I think we should all agree on, and I think we would, which is like, hey, we should all have clean water and clean air and clean food, you know, basic stuff. And I don't like to be wasteful. I think that's something we can pretty much agree on. But then the monks take it to another level. They like, if they're gonna eat something, like if they're gonna eat a cow, they got to eat every part of that cow, and it's like, okay, little extreme. But you know, that's cool. That just shows. I mean, the Japanese are like that though. They're just, well, extremely extreme, and sometimes I really like it. Like with the hydrogen stuff, I love that because they've really created something that's awesome, right? With the whole super clean hydrogen stuff. But when it comes to other things, sometimes I think it's a little much. But I think a lot of it's really good. It's good to be efficient. It's good to be try not to be wasteful. So this is how I'm going to use these beet leaves and stems. I love the stems. They're very earthy. I'm going to throw those in there. I think I got a little too many veggies today, but you know, we need the vegetables. Let me tell you something. People don't consume enough vegetables. Something I've clearly seen. Thanks for the thumbs up, by the way, guys. And yeah, we'll use this one. Oh, look. A few little leaves, and they look kind of good. Are they good? I think so. All right, I'll use them. Got to wash them, though. Everything's organic that I'm buying. It's kind of important because we know for a fact that pesticides are making us sick. And they're trying to legalize some of them. Some of them supposedly are illegal, but we're still using them. So I don't know how that works. I don't know the rules. Okay, I'm going to show you some magic ingredients today. Maybe when more people enter the room, or maybe nobody will be entering the room today, but it's good to see everybody. Okay, so a lot of the stuff I do is anti-cancerous. As you know, no medical claims, no medical advice. Please consult your physician for any issues you might have. But what I will say is, I've read some studies, that's what I can tell you, on ginger. Anti-cancerous, also heats up the core body temperature, which, by the way, a lot of people don't know is correlated with cancer, is low core body temperature. And let's see here. I'm going to cut off some of the bad spots. Another reason I like organic stuff, especially with root vegetables, guys, the beets, ginger, you know, the root stuff. You know, I really do wish that we were growing food. You know, I think that money goes. Think about this. I mean, you guys comment actually, and let me know what you know in your life, or and try to be honest though. You know, some people will be like, oh, you know, I talk to so many people who are like, oh, I'm so, you know, I eat really healthy, and then I have to like sit down and talk with them, or people who I'll meet more locally, and I'll, you know, friends will be like, somebody's sick, and they're like, oh, I eat healthy, and then I go and have to like literally monitor what they do, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're not eating healthy at all. What are you talking about? I don't know if people are delusional or they just try to say things to sound good. I don't know. And what I'm trying to get at is try to be as honest as possible, with yourself, really. I mean, this is not about, see, that's the thing, it's not about convincing other people. Like, I do a lot of things, I just do them for me. I don't try to convince anybody. I have no problem with that. Same thing with like spirituality or religion. Like, I got no problem. I don't need to convince anybody of my perspective or my views. Um, but some people get like really upset about it. Like you have to believe what they believe in, and people get really like that. That's been a big thing these days. I feel like you just have to look at basic stuff, basic things like, hey, be nice to each other. Hey, drink clean water. Hey, breathe clean air. Just basic things. There's always going to be those foundational rules. And then when you get into the more nitty-gritty, it's okay to agree to disagree. But what was I going to ask you guys? I was going to ask you something a second ago about, well, for one, I got to take, like I said, organic stuff is important, especially when you're consuming the skin. And I was talking about root vegetables and how they're very important to be organic. And one of the things that the human body really needs that I don't personally believe most people get enough of, and there's statistics on it too. For one, people definitely don't get enough fiber. I was definitely in that bunch. I was definitely not getting enough fiber, definitely not consuming enough vegetables. Um, and yet you're always hearing, eat your fruits and vegetables, and people really don't. I mean, the latest statistic that I saw was less than 3% of Americans consume the minimum amount of fiber required. And I'm talking minimum because the amount that we really need, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy to try to consume the levels that your body would really like. It really isn't easy. And that was part of the reason that I invented the smoothies. So here's another anti-cancerous ingredient, blueberries, and they're good for the vascular system, which, by the way, is extremely important. I don't even know if I should start going into all the things that the vascular system is important for, because I guess I'm just going to assume that you guys know. And if you don't know, you can Google it, but it's going to affect a whole wide range of things in your body. And blueberries are just straight up magical. There's a lot of properties, but funny thing is, you can do this. This is, I think, one of the sneaky little secrets. Remember, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I don't like all these new. Oh, let me put some clean hydrogen water in here. You can just put whatever you want. You could just do clean water. But notice how I put it as I go. Not only can it soak into the fruits and vegetables, but also it won't blend right unless you add water as you go. So, yep, there we go. And actually, let's grab that other magical ingredient. Let's move on with, oh boy, uh-oh. Oh no, really? No, this can't be possible. It can't be possible. Let me find out. I gotta check. Maybe I misplaced something. Oh boy. Okay, I guess it is possible. I guess, you know what? I could go downstairs and get it. I was going to use some very expensive natto that I have, but this is more for eating, not for the smoothies. I think I'm going to save that. Now, natto, you know what? Somebody was asking me. He's probably not even in the room, but let's just see if he is. And if he isn't, maybe you can hear it later. There was a guy asking, how do I gain weight? He says, I'm very skinny. And I'm also, I think he said he's vegetarian. He goes, or no, he was always skinny. And then since he went vegetarian, he got even more skinny. Now, me personally, honestly, this is one thing that I learned about health, even through my own experience, is, oh no, hold on. I thought I had some natto ready here. Turns out I was wrong. Oh boy. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to use the expensive one, guys. How's that? Oh, you know what? I've gone through, can you believe this? I bought 2 big cases of this stuff. And can you believe that it is, I only got half a case left. I am going through the natto. You know what? It's super good for you. So this really thin guy, I actually wouldn't focus on weight that much. I mean, some things are clear as day. If you're like clearly overweight, that's a whole other thing. But I never you know, when I was young, I used to be into like lifting and you want to get real big and all these silly things, you know. But one thing I've noticed in time is that, oh, let's see here. Hello, good afternoon, says Bianca Guzman. Hello, good afternoon. And one of the things that I've noticed, I guess we're going to have to use expensive natto, is that you shouldn't focus so much on the weight as much as you should be focusing on your nutrients. Just get your nutrients. And what I notice is that your body will go, if you treat your body correct, oh, by the way, this is the expensive natto, the gold standard. Anyway, that's what I'm going to use today. If you notice, it's got a picture of a mountain. See? Mountains are kind of I'll just say they're kind of a thing for me. I don't think I've ever talked about it, actually. That's probably the first time I mentioned it. But I'm fond of mountains for many reasons, and which I guess I won't go into. So let's go ahead and talk about this natto today. So this guy who's looking to try to gain weight, look, everybody has a different type of build. If you give your body the right things, your body will naturally go a certain direction. Me personally, I was always very thin. I can definitely get fat as far as like, you know, gaining weight around my midsection. That seems to be pretty easy for most people. And when I wanted to get really quote unquote big and muscular, it was tough. A lot of eating and, you know, and I wasn't, and you know, it's funny. Some people would look at me and I remember people being like, man, they think that you're healthy if you're muscular and you look a certain way. But I've actually seen people like that before. Even a young guy, he was in his 30s, but very muscular, looked to be in really great shape. Actually a doctor. He was like 36, something like that. And this guy looked super good, super healthy, blah, blah, blah. Did blood work, definitely was not healthy. And that's very interesting because people go off of just the way people look. That can only tell you part of the story. Doesn't tell you the whole story. Oh, you know what? Let's put this in there. Ooh, this one's special. This one's actually really special, guys. Mighty gold, rich, powerful. I believe this is also anti-cancerous. I mean, there's so many ingredients that I put in this thing that are anti-cancerous. The question is, what size are we going to put in? I'm going to do this one. Little turmeric, or turmeric, or whatever you want to call it. I think they're magical. I've been wanting to put it in for quite a while, but like I said, they really are pretty spendy, and I like to do something that's on the regular. Look at the size of these beans. And look, see how they're just kind of transparent? Well, you activate it by stirring them. I don't understand. Maybe one of you guys can explain it to me. I feel like I make something very, very clear and I explain it, that meaning that, for example, the Japanese have been studying natto for quite some time. They know that you have to stir it 100 times at least or more to activate it. I think I've said that at least 100 times. And yet people still ask me, well, do you have to stir it? I'm like, I mean, I'm starting to wonder, am I losing my mind here, or do people just not listen, or did I not make it clear? Because I just want to like understand how to communicate better. You have to stir it in order to activate it. Look at it now. See, it looks different, doesn't it? Because the bacteria start oxygenating. They start breathing in oxygen. They come to life more. It activates them. Kind of like there's certain things that you need to activate. One of them that I was going to give you an example of, I just can't say it because YouTube's having a lot of restrictions lately. It's kind of funny, you know, we're supposed to live in a free country. Don't even get me started on that one, right? Sorry. Not to get all political. I don't even think, I mean, I guess it's political, but it's like, how can we not talk about silly, simple things? Even if it's just your opinion, right? But anyway, so there's certain things that you can activate. And that was one of them. So there we go. Boy, that tastes good. This particular one, this expensive one, oh my goodness. I'm not joking. God, that tastes like butter. It tastes like beans with butter on them. Oh, God, they taste so good. Okay, these are raisins, sun-dried organic raisins soaked in hydrogen water. I'm going to pour the whole water in there too because it's sweet and it's going to bring a sweetness to it. Raisins I've been putting in here. Well, one, they're affordable. Yeah, they're sugary. But obviously the sugar from fruits and vegetables is very different than processed sugar. But the most important part is it's got boron. And that's one of the things that we were putting in here because it's really good for muscles, ligaments, bones, and what we call sex hormones. And so many people had questions on it. And my goodness, I got to say, it's working. I mean, it really is working. I've been experimenting with it for months, and I've been trying it with some volunteers. And I'm a little surprised how good it's working, actually. I did not expect it to work. Now, see, this is why I read the science, because I'll read some data. I'll have to look at, the amounts to take. I'll look at the whole thing, what it's doing to the body, what works, what doesn't. And when I find something that works, I'm like, okay, how can I implement this into my lifestyle? See, you might be watching me make this and you're like, this ain't going to do nothing. Guys, I'm not even I'm not joking. This, between the hydrogen water, which I already drink, and I'm letting it go through my system because it takes about 30 minutes on an empty stomach, which is exactly what I want before I eat all this. And then I create something like this. You're like, this is not going to do anything. I need to go to the doctor and have him give me some pills and I don't know, vitamins or whatever. Okay, next one. Also anti-cancerous. If you're starting to notice a pattern, that my smoothies are highly anti-cancerous, in my opinion. Remember, no medical advice or claims. And not only they're highly anti-cancerous, they're also very highly anti-parasitic. This one I'm not going to put the water in because the walnuts, there's certain things that I think come off the nuts. I think primarily, I'll say certain oxalates, but there's certain things that nuts have as a protective layer, and that's one of the reasons I soak these guys. But it's also because nuts are dried, just like the raisins were. And we want water, guys. Let me tell you something. If you want to know the secret of life, it's hydrogen and it's hydration. No joke. And on top of it, we need the fiber and we need the natural oils. I don't want like processed seed oils, none of this garbage. Actual food. If you're starting to notice a pattern here, it's all about the food, my friends. That and clean water and hydration. I mean, it's that simple. How complicated? I mean, it took me forever, by the way, to figure all this out too. It's borderline ridiculous. It's almost embarrassing. So much research, so many doctors out there, and you're telling me they can't figure this out. All these people selling a million different products. It's just so weird. I've literally can get to this level of health with, it's definitely less than 10 products. And if you notice, I don't even take any pills. You guys notice this yet? No pills. Pills have all these weird like binders, and I've learned that there's just not as much purity. If you really go for the most pure stuff, it's actually the powders. And that's obviously what I'm using. Yeah, I'm not real fond of pills. Well, let's see here. How are we going to do this? This is a beet, like you guys didn't know. See, guys, this is what's called a vegetable. You ever heard of one? Of course I have. I eat them all the time. Okay, dangerous when my fingers are there. I am not a true chef. Oh boy, what did I do? Did I throw it away? No, I put it away. Chef Curry. You guys are basketball fans. I am not a chef. And I was such, it's funny. I don't know if you guys ever gone through this, and maybe I'm sharing too much here, but as a child, of course, I have very loving parents, but I went through a lot of strange things. But the one thing is, I was never shown how to care for myself. And this is funny because if you learn anything about Japanese culture, I'm going to be doing some videos in the future about the good things about Japan and the things that we could learn. There's things about different cultures that I think we could always use. And the Japanese have fascinated me because one of the things that they do is they try to make their kids very independent, teach them all sorts of things, but definitely how to care for themselves. And that was one thing that I definitely did not receive as a child. I was not shown how to care for myself. And that caused a lot of problems in my life because as I got older, I didn't know how to care for myself. So I used to literally just go buy, a bunch of frozen microwavable burritos and cereal and milk and basically just nothing but processed food. I would buy stuff from like McDonald's or whatever, and I didn't know how to care for myself. And look, everybody gets dealt a different hand. I was definitely dealt, could my hand been worse? Sure, of course it could be worse. I could have been born yeah, I won't even begin to say how I could have been born, but it could have been bad, right? So I was born, everything seemed relatively good, but I'd get sick easily. And of course, I was on a lot of antibiotics as a child and yada, 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 so I was getting sick. I lived in a very polluted environment, actually. And let's put a banana in there. Let's do that. Oh man, I wish my bananas were just a little riper, but that's okay. And so I wasn't sure how to care for myself. So when I went through this whole process of being extremely sick, I was not a health nut. I was not a health nut, guys. That was just not me. Um, but I knew I had to figure something out, and I just didn't know. It's funny. I with people who I'd hang out with. Once I was reading a lot of data. Well, I shouldn't even go into that. All I can say is that I had to figure out how to feed myself. Let's put it that way. And was it tricky? Absolutely tricky, guys. Absolutely tricky. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to add the minerals that I normally add at the end. I'm going to add them right now. I like minerals. All our food is deficient in minerals. I'm very well aware of this. This is why I combine it with the smoothie, because in the smoothie, we have a lot of fiber. And you want fiber with the minerals. That's the way that nature or God or whatever you want to call it created things. It's so clear and it's so beautiful, though. I got to say, guys, when I say it's beautiful, I am not even, I'm not joking around. I'm very serious. It is so beautiful if you really begin to understand the way that fruits and vegetables are constructed as compared to processed food in the store. When I say beautifully constructed, I mean, yeah, like some people will be like, well, fruit has sugar. That's so bad for you. It's like, have you seen how the body responds to sugar from a fruit as compared to processed sugar from, like, I don't know, cereal or something, you know, or some silly, whatever, processed food? These fruits and vegetables, we're talking phytonutrients, we're talking enzymes, sometimes we're talking polyphenols, we're talking fiber. And by the way, the fiber, this is the secret, guys. I'm telling you right now. The secret is, and somebody's going to try to bottle this and sell it to someone as some supplement when it's just not going to work. Food, there's just nothing better than food. Even some of the products that I use, like the ionic stuff, that's second best. And look, I do it because, I mean, it's the second best. It's like the best thing that I have access to. But number one, food. But when your food is not grown right, got to add some minerals. When the food is not grown right, got to add some nutrients, you know? So that's what I do. I'm trying to mimic nature, believe it or not, as much as possible. And it has worked well. Not only has it worked beautifully, it's actually worked better than I ever even expected. I just didn't expect this to work. I'm like, come on. How can fruits and vegetables really work, really do all this magic? Oh my goodness. The people that I've known with certain issues, oh my gosh, a lot of gut issues too. Crohn's, certain autoimmune issues. What's that other one recently? IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. I mean, the list is long. I'm telling you right now, it is. I'm so impressed by, well, I must admit though, I got to admit this because otherwise, these are really great. But yes, the hydrogen is really the magic piece because, you know, the hydrogen has done things like, because there was a woman who had, what did she have? She had some really serious gut issue that she had almost for like 3 decades. She had it forever. She lived like that forever. Well, she had celiac, I think is what it was. And if I remember correctly, don't quote me on that. And by the way, these are hydrogen chia seeds. I soak them in hydrogen water. Again, water is the key to life and water is the key to health. And this woman suffered for so long and she got on the hydrogen protocol. I didn't tell her what to eat. So that was one thing. She just did the hydrogen protocol and her issues went away. And she was so blown away. She goes, you don't know how many doctors, how many naturopaths, how much money I spent, and just clean water with the hydrogen changed my life. And that's why she contacted me. She goes, I just want to let you know you changed my life. Somebody just contacted me again and said that recently. And then somebody else recently had, I get a lot of emails or testimonials. I would release more of those videos, but to be honest, people don't seem as interested in them. I don't get a ton of views on them. So I'm like, okay. But I mean, I do them once in a while because they're important. Okay, let's read some of your comments, I guess, while I'm doing this. Hello, good afternoon. Look at that. Look, laugh out loud. That reminds me. I figured out something interesting about the sun that I might get you in trouble. Oh, yeah, be careful with that. Howie, don't get me in trouble on this platform. You can always just email me if you need to tell me something. It's almost like people don't believe you, so they question everything. If it's too hard, they just dismiss it. People are so skeptical when it comes to natural health. Yeah, I mean, it's true, Howie. It happens. I mean, I'm super skeptical, so I get it. Example, my 16-year-old daughter. Well, here, let me just keep going with this, and we can read those while I'm making a smoothie because I thought maybe there might be a question in there somewhere. So next, carrots. Carrots again, magical. But everybody's so behind. Again, not trying to pick on people, but they really are behind in a lot of ways in America when it comes to health. A lot of people don't know that Japan is obsessed with health. So funny. I had this like extremely healthy meal yesterday, and I'll tell you, some of the comments are hilarious. I mean, you guys should tell me what you think I should do because I don't like to be rude, and I'm totally fine with agreeing to disagree. But like, I people messaging me saying things like, "Well, first of all, if you guys saw the meal video I released yesterday, because people are always saying, well, what do you eat for dinner? You know, and trying to get meal ideas too. And you know, yesterday was a special meal, and I just kind of showed a quick clip of it. I didn't show the whole thing actually because there was some rice and beans that I didn't show. I just showed the main dish, and somebody commented that that's not healthy, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about? What do you mean not healthy? I had like, guys, I had a very special. There was a lot of root vegetables yesterday, but one of them was from the lotus flower. Such a beautiful vegetable. Very apparently hard to harvest, very hard to find. I had like radishes and almost everything was a root vegetable yesterday. And then of course I had beans with rice, and I think I also had some nuts. I tend to put like I had some sauerkraut, and I always like to use nuts a lot. So I put like well, they were sprouted pumpkin seeds actually. But anyway, you know, and then some lady made a lot of comments on my video. Maybe she's even in here now, and it's fine. Look, I don't mind agreeing to disagree, but this woman's trying to tell me that I need to change the whole way that I do things, and I'm like, what? Like, I need to stop eating this way, and I need to do her diet, which apparently is, she said, the carnivore diet. She goes, just eat nothing but meat, you know, and you're going to become a man. And I'm like, I am a man, but I'm going to become a man if I eat meat. I don't know. It's kind of old school thinking, but you know, it's funny. Why would anybody? I mean, guys, I was sick, and by the way, a lot of people don't even realize this. I did try the carnivore diet. You know, so a lot of people probably just don't know that, and it didn't work. You know, and it wasn't. Look, it's not just because of the diet. I gotta say, it's a combination of things, kind of like your human body. You can't just have one healthy finger, one healthy arm, one healthy leg. Like, it's a combination of everything needing to work synergistically. And I'm not against meat. There's a lot of interesting research though, and see, that's the other thing. I think it's always important to actually do some good research, not just listen to people who are like, oh, you know, I did this and it tasted great, or it totally fixed me up, you know. And I like to look at data. And I mean, let me tell you something. Do you realize that basically medicine, look at some of the best medicines in the world and what they were made of, what they were derived from, you know. Guys, plants are magical. When people try to like poo-poo plants, I'm like, are you nuts? I mean, it's just been like and then the funniest thing is when they told me that my meal was unhealthy, it made me laugh because I'm like, this is a very, very traditional Japanese meal that I had eaten. And the Japanese live so flippin' long. And they eat so, see, I've studied how they eat, and then I also study the science behind the food that they eat, so I can like try to create protocols. And just a little bit more hydrogen water in here. And they live so long, but they consume a lot of vegetables, guys. They really do. A lot of vegetables, a lot of fermented food, a lot of fruit. They're really big on purity and cleanliness. They do their best to not use pesticides. You know, I mean, they're master farmers. A lot of people, I think a lot of people know that America literally brought. How do you think that all these Japanese got here years ago when they had those Japanese camps, which is so sad? Um, but you know, master farmers, guys. Okay, we're gonna make some noise. I'm gonna get some jars, and we're gonna show what this all looks like, and then we'll eat. There we go. All right. Take out the compost. Sometimes when I stop it, everything drops to the bottom. It helps to chop it up a little better. And then I'll read your guys' comments, maybe answer some questions. And oh, you know what? I got the Japanese meal here that I ate yesterday. I still have some left in the sink. Oh yeah, I can show it to you guys if you really want. Comment below if you want to see it. If not, it's fine. It's all good. I'm going to add a little hydrogen water to these guys and some other magical ingredients. So let's get going with it. All right. So like I said, people definitely don't get enough fiber. Everybody's almost deficient in, you know, something. Everybody's always, there's a lot of deficiencies in the world and in America. And this is how I fix them. A little bit of water. Oh, thanks for all the thumbs up. I didn't even notice you guys were doing that. These are the magic ingredients. Magic ingredients have to shake them up a little bit. I think it's pretty much ready, but let's do one more time and see if I can feel it in there. There we go. That's good. Bring it up. Okay, so we're almost there. This is going to be the first one right here. You guys can guess what it is. This is super important. We're going to put some very important things into this smoothie because combining, again, the magic of nature, the way that it does things. I mean, it's just so beautifully simple. Haven't you ever noticed that some of the best designs are just beautiful simplicity? If you've ever looked at some of Tesla's designs and some of his stuff, I mean, just so, I mean, literally just almost like that's when you really see the magic of God. It's like the designs, the master engineer. It's just so amazing. And food is no different, in my opinion. Masterful, masterful. That's why I use it. And yet, sometimes we look at it and we're just like, it's just food. It's no big deal, right? Oh no, it's a big deal because of what it can do. That's why you look at studies, and the studies on food sometimes is pretty remarkable. D3 with K2, absolute necessity. You do not want to be deficient in vitamin D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Technically, it's a hormone, I guess you could say. But you need vitamin D. You think you can get it all from the sun? Think again. Get tested, see where you're at, but don't take too much either. It could be toxic. So you have to know your proper levels. You know, I take between 5,000 to 10,000 IUs depending on how I'm feeling and time of the year and everything else. Boron. And remember, ionic. Remember what I told you guys? Ionic is the best forms. Boron's good for the muscles, ligaments, bones. What else here? I know the brain. Yep. And for sex hormones. And see, that may sound weird to people, be like, sex hormones. We're just talking about your testosterone, you know, the estrogen. And you know what? Again, I'm a little surprised. I'm actually really surprised how good it's working. Did not expect boron, of all things. It's just a mineral. This one was sent to me. This one, like I said before, I'm actually falling in love with this thing. I'm really liking it. Chlorophyll. Normally you get these from your vegetables. It's just like super dark green. It basically looks black, super condensed, but even tasty. I've gotten used to very like I've really changed my palate. You know, I like earthy flavors. The beets are earthy. This chlorophyll just it's like condensed vegetables. You end up like I still like bananas and stuff, but my palate, I'll tell you, it really has changed. But it takes discipline at first. It's so hard, guys. It really is hard at first. But once you get rolling, let me tell you something. I just got another phone call today, actually, about it. Before I was able to get on the video. People who've really done this are like, these smoothies, try smoothies for 1 month. It is so hard to stop because you're getting, the fiber is actually helping you hydrate even better. So I hydrate with the hydrogen and I hydrate with the powder, let's see, no, the hydrogen and the fiber. Next ingredient, hemp hearts. This thing's like a multivitamin all in itself. Again, look at the ingredients, just food. Not one ingredient have I put in here that literally says like, oh, high corn fructose corn syrup, color number 40 or whatever. Like there's no added stuff. This is just food. That's all it is. Pin parts are really special, actually. They are expensive. That is one of the ones that are expensive, but I spend probably the most money, believe it or not, on all my nuts and seeds. They're so expensive. Okay, let's taste it. Mmm. Last ingredient. Anybody guess the last ingredient? I'm gonna take my earpiece off and then I'll answer your questions or read your comments. Let's go. Let's see. Last ingredient, believe it or not, is hydrogen. Hydrogen is an ingredient. I breathe it as I drink my smoothie. It's this protocol that is working quite beautifully, actually. Better than I would have ever expected. Okay, so let's go through your questions and comments here. Guess I can take off this apron that everybody makes fun of. Well, okay. Starting to get warm now. Okay, let's see here. Good afternoon. Okay, so I was saying, my 16-year-old daughter has a ganglion cyst that she could get rid of completely. By taking 2 homeopathic pellets once a week for several months, and she says it's too difficult. I don't know. I mean, okay, let's just go with what you're saying. I won't give my opinion on this. So yesterday I asked her, would you rather me just schedule your surgery? And then that's it. And then a guy named Dude. Dude says, I agree. Powders are the purest form of nutrition, especially straight in water, automatic hydration and nutrients. Sometimes. You don't always want to put them straight in water. Depends on what you're doing. I specifically am putting these with fiber because you absorb the nutrients better. Okay, Alicia Gonzalez says, morning everybody. Greg, have you helped someone with adrenal fatigue? Oh yeah, that one's, again, dare I say, easy. I worked with a woman one time. I mean, I've been with multiple people, but this particular woman was the biggest story. She had spent close to $200,000 over the years, of course, going to numerous doctors, numerous naturopaths, even some gurus. Nobody ever solved her problem. She did say, though, that she had about maybe 10% improvement, but she had put in so much effort to get 10% improvement. And then we spoke. I gave her my protocol, different protocols for different things. And she did the protocol, and she contacted me, I believe it was 6 months after. She had been following the protocol quite diligently. This was many years ago. And she said, you have completely changed my life. She said, because she couldn't get, I mean, she would get up and walk around for, I think she said she had about an hour or two in her, and then she would just be wiped. She followed the protocol. She said she had about almost 90%. It was like 86% or something improvement. She said it was so dramatic. She said, I can totally live my life now. And she was older, quite older. But she had said that it completely changed her life, and it really worked. And it's actually really simple, but it does take instruction. But yes, I have worked with people like that. Dude says, you can only eat so much celery, but you can sure load an entire stalk in 1 cup. Oh, with the powder. Yeah. But it's missing, I mean, I like the actual food. I would actually probably take, if you're using celery powder, I would actually use celery, natural celery with it too, the actual food. And Dude says, do nothing more and do nothing less. Your meal ideas are inspiring. basically a feast every time and ignore the haters. I know, I'm surprised how many haters there are out there. Really surprised. Or people who are trying to tell me what to do, which is funny because my blood work looks so flipping good. I mean, it's so good, you know, that I'm getting phone calls from the doctor's office about it. I mean, and then someone's like, no, you should stop doing that. It's like, what? I won't even give you the other examples that I've heard. It's just crazy. Howie99 says, truth, you can live healthy and happy without meat. Yeah, of course, I've been doing it for well over a decade, but you can't do the same without vegetables, fruits, nuts. That's a good point, Howie. You can't, in my opinion, you can't live a healthy life without vegetables. You will seriously have problems. And it's not something we're making up. I mean, if you want me to pull up all the scientific research, there's so much of it. Alicia Gonzalez says, can I email you about that protocol? Yeah, go ahead. No problem. Goji45 says, do you drink the entire smoothie at once or throughout your day? How long is it good for? I can show you in a moment. There's a way to seal it. I tried different sealers. I think I found the right one now. I drink about a jar to a jar and a half in the mornings. Then I'll save. I drink it, basically this is my breakfast. And oftentimes it's my lunch. And then sometimes, like yesterday, I even had it for dessert after dinner. But this is a multivitamin for me. Multi-nutrient. It's minerals, it's vitamins, it's everything for me. And that's how I use it. I have a special sealer that, I mean, you could seal it and in 3 days, it's still good. So you can make a lot of these if you really wanted to. Okay, let's see here. Goji, how long is it good for? Oh yeah, if you seal it, 3 days. If you don't seal it, it might be good the second day and then that's it. Quansack, have you ever seen Dr. Mercola's hydrogen peroxide inhalation protocol? Yeah, I know about hydrogen peroxide, but that's not what I'm talking about. This hydrogen that I'm inhaling is not hydrogen peroxide. A lot of people don't know the hydrogen peroxide virtually has nothing really to do with hydrogen because it's H2O2. It's actually an additional oxygen molecule. Yeah, of course I know about those protocols. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything negative or anything, but I'm not a huge fan of Mercola's due to some things that I have found out about him. But yeah, maybe, and it might not even be that he's a bad guy. He just doesn't read his own stuff. Like, look at all the products he promotes. Do you really, really believe he's taking all that stuff? And that's way too much stuff for one person to take. Remember, I only show you guys what I personally do and use, and I'm very picky. And I go so far as testing my blood. I'd love to see Mercola's blood. Like I said, I'm always up for anybody who wants to put their blood up against mine. I'm totally cool with it. Not in an arrogant way. It's to see what's working and what's not working. Like I said, there was this doctor that he actually was doing the carnivore diet thing, and he wanted to prove to everybody it's the best thing ever. And his blood work after he had been on it, I can't remember how long he'd been on it. His blood work looked terrible, and he was actually trying to make excuses for all of it. And then eventually he pulled the video down. So. Because he was, you know, it clearly wasn't working. People sometimes want to believe certain things, but I go off data and I go off the facts. That's why ever since I've been doing what I've been doing, everything was based on the data, not because of my stubbornness or like, no, it's got to be this way. It was never about belief systems. This is about what works. So I don't know if that helps, but anyway. Alicia Gonzalez says, even Paul Saladino, who was a carnivore, started to introduce fruits again. He still says veggies are not good for us. Oh my goodness. How much data do I need to show you about vegetables? Look at the Japanese. I'm telling you, they consume massive things of vegetables and then, you know, small portions of rice, things like this. In the future, I will have to apparently make videos. Not that anybody will care. I really don't know if anybody's going to care. But I'm gonna try to show you guys, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna have to try to show you guys videos of their culture and the good things we can take from it and learn from it. I don't think I need to do anything on the negative stuff unless people want to see that too, but I don't always agree, you know. And you know, Paul Saladino, you know, again, people think that if someone just looks muscular, it automatically means they're healthy. Definitely doesn't mean that at all. I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. That guy needed open heart surgery. You know, and he's supposed to be like one of the healthiest guys alive. I had a friend who was a bodybuilder. He said it's one of the most unhealthy sports in the world. And, you know, they consume a lot of protein, a lot of meat. You have to try to be that way. Being thinner and leaner, I actually find to be healthier. But I actually think you should just let your body do what it naturally does. That's what I've really done a lot more of. You know, I mean, if I wanted to get muscular, I mean, like I said, when I was super sick, I was actually quite muscular. And then I, you know, like I said, I got really sick, and it was very, very painful. Let's see here. Okay, I'm almost done here. I would recommend watching the documentary Game Changers, proof that vegetables make you stronger and healthier than meat does. Yeah, well, you know, and I hate for this to be an argument about no meat, yes meat. You know, a lot of people go into that. I think that it's all about balance. Can you eat meat and be healthy? In my opinion, yes. But it's all about portions. You'd have to have, again, I've seen the Japanese do it. Lots of vegetables. Sometimes they'll have a small amount of like fish or meat. And then they have their steamed rice, and they have like a lot of fermented vegetables also. But they usually don't have a big piece of steak and like French fries and ketchup. And I mean, you know, or just eat nothing but meat. No, that is not flying in Japan. You gotta eat vegetables. It's like the staple. But the reason that I go, I mean, once in a while, okay, when you don't eat meat a lot, when you do eat it, you get like a huge boost. But in time, that's not good. It's kind of like, it's like a lot of things in life, actually, like inhaling oxygen. This is not oxygen, this is hydrogen, but with oxygen, you can inhale it, you can get a boost, but you really don't want to do it for more than 3 days. After that, the effects tend to be detrimental. I think meat's kind of the same way. Periodically, if you were to eat it, you'll get a boost. Always load up on hydrogen water before it, always have lots of vegetables before it, and then have your meat, and you can get a boost. But I wouldn't eat it very often. I don't eat it for other reasons, which, I mean, it's hard to explain to people, and I don't feel like I can ever convey it, which is why I don't tend to try to explain it very much. You could just say that it's more for purity, I guess you could say. I mean, my blood, apparently, according to not only numerous people, but there was this one particular lady who had a lot of experience. She's like, your blood looks so clean. And you don't have buildup of undigested proteins, which happens with over meat consumption, by the way. But let's see here. But I agree with you, Howie. Alicia Gonzalez says, I think the only thing everyone agrees on is no processed foods and fake ingredients. I completely agree with that. Totally. It's one of the problems that they want to do with meat now is, some say they're already doing it, is they're trying to put certain things in it. And there's already things in it, by the way, that is one to be cautious with. This is even vegetables, GMO vegetables that are filled with pesticides, you know. Okay. Let's see, but I agree with you, Alicia. Howie says all animals get their protein from eating grass and vegetables. Not all animals, but yes, a lot of them. I mean, then you got like lions, but we don't eat lions. And hemp hearts are delicious. Okay, sometimes I wonder if eating animals is bad for your soul. Now you're getting to the part, Northern Yeti, that it's one of the big reasons I don't do that. It's not because it's necessarily bad for my soul, I would say. When animals, depending on how they get killed, and we are, these are facts. Remember, I'm more of a fact guy, but I'm definitely open-minded. And they produce stress hormones. And it does affect their tissue, the meat. Even the Japanese have figured this out. They even go as far as some of the best meat in the world is they literally get the animal drunk. They get the animal drunk before they kill it. So that he's nice and relaxed. He probably doesn't even remember. And that meat is so good. I mean, I've had some. It's quite delicious. But those stress hormones, just like when you're stressed out and you produce your own poison, and that's another fact, by the way. You know, so these things are important to think about. And it is one of the reasons I just don't want to put that in my body. And they're kind of dirty. I mean, I think we know this about animals. They're dirty. Have you ever gone in a kitchen coop? Ugh. And you're eating those chickens. Gross. Chicken coop. Kitchen coop, not kitchen coop. Chicken coop. I mean, they're dirty birds. I think that's one of their nicknames. Dirty bird. And pigs? Oh my gosh. You know, there's a woman yesterday. Oh boy, she's so sweet, but I feel really bad for her. She was extremely sweet. Her fingers were all crooked, and she had really bad arthritis. And she had it all in her back, and a poor woman. And she's like, yeah, I heard about you. What's going on? And I said, the one thing I asked her, because I know about, a lot of people don't know this, by the way, and it's a scientific fact. We've known since the 90s. Even doctors don't know about it, and it shocks me. I always have to show them the literature. Her type of arthritis is most likely due to a specific type of bacteria in the gut. And I asked her, I said, look, do you eat pork? And she's like, what do you think I'm eating tonight? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, pork. I got it all ready to go at home. And okay, so you eat pork. And she's like super religious. So it's funny because, I mean, this was really hilarious. Again, very sweet old woman. And I said, because she's super religious, I said, you do know the Bible says not to eat pork, right? And she's like, oh, I guess I never thought of that. I'm like, what? She knew about the verse. She knows the Bible says it, but she just assumed it's something that she didn't have to follow. And it's not that the Bible's telling you not to eat pork, in my opinion, because it's going to damn your soul to hell forever and ever. I think it's telling you that because it's not good for you. I mean, just like the Daniel diet, they call it, or eat a lot of vegetables. And, you know, they're trying to show you how to be healthy. I mean, what did Jesus go around doing? But healing people. I mean, I'll finish that story in a second. Let me grab more of my smoothie. It's really delicious today. Or she. Ginger, anti-cancerous, cantankerous. Okay, so I don't know. I just like that word. I don't know why. Every time I say anti-cancerous, it makes me think of cantankerous, but I don't even know what it means. Anyway, so this woman, I'm telling her, I'm like, you didn't know that it's related to your gut? She goes, I have noticed my gut really sticks out. She wasn't even overweight, but I think she's got a lot of worms, to be honest. I think she's got a lot of worms, a lot of parasites. She said that she's never done a deworming, no type of anti-parasitic cleanse, nothing ever in her life. And I told her, I said, look, as old as you are, I said, I'm going to guess. And I actually am pretty good at guessing because I guess off of information. And I said, let me guess. You do remember back in the day when they used to deworm kids, right? When they used to deworm people every once in a while. She's like, oh yeah, I do remember that because it was a long time ago. They don't do that anymore. They used to do that a long time ago. And in Japan, they still, you know, they check kids in schools for worms and parasites. It's smart. But we don't really think about it much in America. And I think that's caused her really bad arthritis because I've read the literature on it. The only problem is Here's the problem, and everybody's gonna argue about this. The solution to the problem. I'm sure there's numerous different things you can do. I'm just telling you that in the medical establishment, they use antibiotics for 1 year on a person. That's how they fix that issue. But it's destroying your joints. So, you know. But yeah, Northern Yeti, those poor animals. And I love animals. I don't know about you guys. Love animals. I mean, look into the eyes of a cow. Look into the eyes of a deer. Look into the eyes of a horse. Just their energy feels so peaceful. I love it. That's why they get startled so easily, because they're at peace. Humans are not really at peace, in my opinion. And what did Jesus always say? Peace be with you. Isn't that something from Star Trek? I don't remember. But anyway, prosperity or something. I don't remember. I'm not a big Trekkie guy, but look at dogs. You know, we all love animals. And at least I think we all do. A whale, you know, a dolphin. They're just so wonderful. I love animals. And, you know, will I eat one? I don't know. I haven't eaten one for a very long time. What I would do, maybe, I do have fish once in a while. You know, when I look into the eyes of a fish, yeah, I'm not sure it's exactly what I see in the eyes of a dog, but hey, they're still there and they're still cute and wonderful. I just think life is really wonderful. So I guess I'm about to say goodbye soon, but Howie says, what cleanse do you recommend for deworming and getting rid of parasites? Well, you know, Howie, I shared what I do for parasites. I created my own protocol. I shared it online before, but ever since this little virus came out, all those videos got flagged. But I use a combination of 3 things, and I use them in a specific way. I'm not saying you could never figure it out, but probably not. I mean, it took me years of research, understanding how parasites work, understand where to source it, understanding dosages, creating the whole protocol. I'll give you an easy one. Excuse me. Saliva went down the wrong windpipe. I would say read about diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth, food grade. That's what I would look into. The protocol is very similar for adults and kids. Food grade, for right now we can say this. Hopefully they don't get rid of that one too later. Food grade diatomaceous earth. There's a lot of protocols online on how to do it. I like to do it with hydrogen water. Mix it, drink it, but it's super cheap. There's been science to prove that it works, because it seems almost ridiculous. But it works. They do fecal samples before and after. The study I read was a bunch of people who worked with animals. This is back to my animal subject. Did you know that people who work on farms work with horses, pigs, cows, chickens? Guys, those type of people are filled with parasites. Sorry to say. If you eat meat, you're going to be most likely to have them too. I mean, did you guys know that every single piece of beef that has ever been tested in America is always testing positive for fecal matter? Every single one of them. That's where they test for the bugs. There's also a lot of eggs in there too. And so, yeah, it's good to do a good deworming in my opinion. In fact, I have some. Don't I have some right here? Yeah, I have some right here that I've been taking myself. I do a good deworming between once a year to once every 3 years, even though I eat the way that I do. I still do it. GC118 says, hey, Greg, just tuning in. To make a long story short, my dad has been inhaling hydrogen every day, 1 or 2 hours. He recently noticed some small red blotches on his skin. He's on Eliquis. I'm wondering if the hydrogen is enhancing the blood thinning effects. Oh, yes. Be a little cautious of this. Let's see here. Usually it shouldn't be a huge deal though, unless he's taking natto. Natto is really gonna make it, you know. But let's see here. The thing about it is, does hydrogen have blood thinning effects itself? No, hydrogen doesn't thin the blood. Well, actually, not that I've ever heard of. Let me just verify before I speak, because I don't think it does, but it does. Okay, let's see. No, it's not going to thin your blood. But it does have an effect on blood pressure. It does have an effect on cholesterol. Like, I've seen that kind of stuff. So, what I would do, he's inhaling 1 to 2 hours a day, small red blotches on the skin. Well, I definitely don't think it's from the hydrogen. It could be, I'm trying to get him to an alternate cardiologist ASAP. Shoot, I gotta go. I got a work thing. Somebody's at the door. All I can say is, find natto. Natto is a natural blood thinner. The red blotches might be a side effect. I don't know how long he's been on those blood thinners, but let me go look at the data on blood thinners, by the way. This is really terrible. So far, they're showing to extend life by 4 days. That's it. They don't help as much as everybody thinks they do it, and they're being prescribed to everybody. There was a specialist I just heard talk about it. Sorry that I gotta go though, guys. Gotta get to work. See you guys.